Alright, to build a simple DC motor, you will need two pieces of wire with alligator clips on either side, magnets, a ring of copper wire, a wooden base, a 9-volt battery, two paper clips bent as shown, and some tape. For the ring of wire to function, here's how to make it. Take 80 centimeters of copper wire and wrap it around any object which is 3 centimeters in diameter, making sure to leave 5 centimeters free on either end. In this case, we chose a glue stick. So we wrapped it around our glue stick roughly 10 times, making sure that the spaces between each loop of wire was absolutely minimal. At the end, we adjusted the wire ends to make sure that they were both 5 centimeters. Now, it's best to tie off the ends using the extra ends of the wire, as shown right here. The loop of wire is to act like a solenoid. Each infinitesimal piece contains moving charges when attached to a voltage source. The charges thus creates a magnetic field. All of the pieces add up to a whole, and the individual magnetic field add up to create a grand field, with its direction determinable by something that is called the right-hand rule. The loop is thus an electromagnet. So, we mentioned the right-hand rule, but what exactly is it? Firstly, we need to understand that force is a cross product of the magnetic field and the current, meaning that the direction of the force is perpendicular to both this magnetic field and the current. To find the direction, then, we must use our right hand. We can point our thumb in the direction of the current and our fingers in the direction of the magnetic field. The palm will point towards the force. Now, for the DC motor to actually function properly, we need it to be able to get current to pass, but only half of the time. So, to do this, we simply need to strip the wire of its insulating coating, but only on half of it, like so. After this, voila, the ring is done. For the paper clips, we bend them so that the two loops are at 90 degrees from one another, for them to act as supports. So to do so, we take one side and bend one end upwards, making sure that it forms an angle of 90 degrees, with the remainder of the paper clip. Now we will tape the supporting paper clips onto the wooden support, with the upbent side downwards. They will be placed at a distance slightly greater than that of the diameter of the ring, as to assure that it can support the ring and to guarantee that the ring itself may spin freely and with minimal resistance. Now, before proceeding, we must absolutely guarantee that the alligator clips are firmly secured to their designated wire, as to assure that they can allow for adequate movement of current. Failure to do so will ultimately result in the DC motor not functioning properly. Now, finally, with the ring on its designated support attached with the alligator clip wires, the supports to the battery. Now, we place the magnet near the ring and we give it a small spin. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you build your own DC motor. Now, here's how it works. In this diagram, a current is passing. It can thus be affected by a magnetic field. Just like our magnet. Using the right-hand rule, we can see that on each of the extremes of the formed loop, there will be forces that will push in similar directions, hence resulting in a net rotation, and resulting, therefore, on a net torque for the whole magnet. The torque still applies when it is turning. why we remove the insulation from half of the wire. If not, the torque would manage to reverse. Once the ring has flipped 180 degrees, the current will momentarily stop, removing the torque, letting momentum to return the ring to its initial state. Ingenious. And voila, a simple DC motor. Now, why does this DC motor work in the first place? The loop of wire that we constructed is to act like a solenoid. Each infinitesimal piece contains moving charges when it is attached to a voltage source. The charges thus create a magnetic field. All of the individual pieces add up to a whole, and the individual magnetic field winds up to create a grand field, with its direction determinable by the right-hand rule. This loop can then be considered an electromagnet, and thus is the reason why this DC motor manages to work in the first place and uses a magnet to help with its propulsion and torque.